Welcome to Conservative Voices Talking Points. Well, gentlemen, we've talked about a lot of topics, right? We're gonna end with that, but I am gonna allow you, just like we do with every show, closing remarks. So, Rob, why don't you start us off with some closing remarks?
Closing remarks. We are in a battle for our life, for our country, for our families, for our futures. And if you don't understand that, we're here to tell you that it's true.
Eric.
Good lesson this week. My wife and I just dealt with. We had a daughter on swim team, and we went to every Friday following the meet on Thursday. They have an award ceremony, and last Friday, or the Friday before last, my daughter was not honored, did not get an ice cream sundae certificate because she didn't place in the top 5 in her swimming. My wife calls me, she's like, "Can you believe what they did to her?" And I'm like, and at first I got mad too. I was like, who the heck are they? We're quitting, like, forget it, like, this is ridiculous. But then I was like, she's a great swimmer at this stroke. She is a lifeguard. How the heck could she not do that? So come to find out, she didn't really work at it. She didn't really work for it. She didn't try for it. And then same event that just this week, guess what? Second place. You know, it's not a everybody plays, everybody wins. This is reality. And she learned a great lesson this week that if you, just in a 1 week's time, if she worked a little harder and she practiced a little more and got her beginning and her ending and her in-between that much better, she could win. And guess what? She got the sundae, the ice cream sundae this week because she worked for it, because she knew what she had to do. And that's just a great lesson, so kind of what we're talking about today. I really felt, I learned a lot from that lesson myself.
It's true.
Gentry.
I'm going to do something, and I'm going to encourage our viewers to do something as well that can seem a little difficult. And I'll confess, it's not something I want to do, but I think as an American we need to do it. And that is that as convinced I am that Joe Biden should not be in the Oval Office, as convinced I am that nearly anybody else might be a better president, might be a stronger president, and certainly in a couple of years we'll have another Republican presidency. We, I think, have an obligation to root and pray for the guy that this stuff stops. There are people, including Americans, including American allies, including American collaborators, people who have worked for 20 years, for 2 decades since 9/11, right? By the time this thing posts, we'll be nearly at the 2-decade anniversary of that day, to keep the American homeland safe. And despite my criticisms of this president, despite my deep conviction that he does not believe in America, and that's how you can blunder your way into this kind of surrender and retreat. You know, politics aside, there are Americans and American allies who are still fighting for their lives, who are bleeding, who are suffering, who are dying in this cause that we call liberty. I want to pray for him this week. I'm going to root for him this week. There is a time for an election, and we'll beat the hell out of this guy. But for the next week, I think we all ought to lift him up in our prayers, and we ought to hope that the next week is a little better than the last.
Excellent.
Fair enough.
Amen.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Thank you as well, our viewing audience, for joining us. We'll see you next time on Conservative Voices Talking Points.